The 4-4-2 diamond is seen as the closest relative to the 4-4-2. Its narrow midfield with players staggered on different lines proved to be a tough formation to stop at the turn of the century. While it's definitely not the most used formation in the current meta, it's one that more and more managers are going back to. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the main advantages and disadvantages of the diamond midfield. Before going any further, let's take a look at the main shape and the different roles that are present within this formation. The 4-4-2 diamond can also be referred to as the 4-3-1-2 or 4-1-2-1-2. This formation features two central defenders that will need to be comfortable with the ball to feet, as this formation will usually look to build from the back when possible, but will also need to be strong and quick to deal with the opposition's crosses and counterattacks. Given the narrow nature of this formation, it's essential that the two fullbacks join the attacks regularly, and will be the team's only natural source of width throughout the game, and will certainly need to have good stamina to be effective. The midfield is where this formation gets its name. As an evolution of the 4-4-2, the two central midfielders will morph into a holding midfielder and the attacking midfielder, with the wingers moving more centrally and becoming mezzale or shuttlers. The holding midfielder is crucial for adding more defensive support, and will maintain a central position and shield the defence by covering any runs in between the lines. This position has also become increasingly more important during build-up, and will look to add support to the defence to help outnumber the opposition's high press and help the team start their attack. The two midfielders either side of the holding mid have arguably the most flexible role within the team. They will need to support attack and defence, and will be crucial for creating chances for the strikers with support either side, or to help create an overload in certain areas of the pitch. Their positioning is fundamental, and will need to constantly free themselves of any man marking to find space between the lines or in the half space. Depending on the system used by the manager, their positioning can be as wide or as narrow as needed. If you want to know more about this position, then check out this video on the mezzala for a detailed description of what the main roles and advantages of this position can be. The attacking midfielder is the player mainly responsible for creating plays, and will be the focal point for any attack. For this reason, he must be excellent under pressure and have a fantastic passing range, able to pick out players on the overlap or play through balls to the strikers. Finally, the two strikers, as you'd expect, are responsible for the majority of the team's goals. As we will see later on, this formation is at its best with quick vertical play, and so it encourages the use of quicker, more technical attackers, with one using movement to hit the channels and stretch the opposition, while the other can tend to drop deep, collect passes and link up play. However, this formation can also work with a traditional target man, with the other striker looking to collect the flick on or the layoff. On paper, it's easy to see where this formation has specific advantages compared to a traditional 4-4-2. The diamond means there is more central cover, with better passing angles and more players positioned between the lines. It sacrifices width, but with the right fullbacks this isn't necessarily a bad thing, and given that the team will naturally be creating less opportunities from out wide, it gives space for more technical and quick strikers to flourish. By dividing the pitch into the main zones the players will need to work in, we can see why this formation gives room for players to excel, and the right players can make this formation deadly. The compact nature of the diamond also allows for quicker rotations between positions, meaning this formation can quickly morph into any other lineup. For example, one wide mid can drop deep to form a double pivot, giving space for the attacking mid to move out wide and allow the other wide mid to push up to form a 4-2-2-2. The fullbacks could push up, with the holding mid dropping between the centre-backs to cover, and the formation can morph into a 3-5-2. Even defensively, this formation can quickly drop into a standard 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 to stop the opposition from progressing. Compared to other formations, the 4-4-2 diamond doesn't have a dedicated origin story and seems to drift in and out of fashion over the years. Some noteworthy teams to use this formation were Carlo Ancelotti's AC Milan in the early 2000s, who would dominate world football with this formation and the Christmas tree 4-3-2-1, or Champions League winners Porto under Jose Mourinho in 2004. More recently, Brendan Rodgers took Liverpool to runners-up in the 2013-14 season using this formation, scoring an impressive 101 goals, thanks mostly to Luis Suarez. Before we take a look at why this formation can be so dangerous going forward, I just want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, OneFootball. OneFootball is hands down the best app for any updates in the football world. From transfers, statistics, goal scorers, assists, or any news, OneFootball will cover it. It's the best app to have while you're watching a game, as it gives you live statistical updates and commentary to help you better understand how the game is being played. OneFootball makes following your favourite team incredibly simple, and the best part about it is that it's completely free. So if you think it's something you might enjoy, click the link in the description down below to get started. Thank you to OneFootball, and let's take a look at the main attacking dynamics of the 4-4-2 diamond. As we saw earlier, this formation has plenty of central cover, meaning it's excellent for teams that wish to build from the back, as it can effectively outnumber the opposition if they choose to press high up the pitch. Against the 4-3-3, the midfield 4 can stay further up on the pitch to outnumber the midfield in a 3v4, given that the defence can effectively break the first line of press with the back 4 and the goalkeeper. If the opposition plays with a 4-4-2, then they will be forced to move their wingers more centrally to mirror the diamond, meaning the fullbacks can have more space to move forward. While it is excellent for build-up, it is also highly effective for teams that wish to play long balls. Having two strikers mean they can pin the centre-backs, and can either flick the ball on to the other striker or lay it off to the playmaker, who can have space between the lines to play the strikers in behind, or wait for the shuttlers to join the attack. Now, what makes this formation so good for moving the ball forward quickly and vertically is having players staggered all up the pitch on different lines, meaning there are more passing lanes. The key player during build-up is the holding midfielder, as he's the player that will help break the first line of pressure, joining defence with attack. To move the ball to him, the team can employ the ball forwards, ball backwards method. This works especially well because the opposition strikers will shadow mark the holding midfielder, meaning he won't be able to directly receive a pass from the defender. However, one of the two shuttlers will usually have an open passing lane, who can receive the ball when under pressure and lay it off to the holding midfielder, who is now facing the attack, and can effectively move further up. This 2 steps forward, 1 step back is an excellent way of moving the ball up the pitch, and works through any line. With the holding mid on the ball, this is when it can start unlocking defences. If he's pressed in a midfield 3, then one of the wide midfielders will have space to attack. If it's a midfield 4, then the fullbacks can immediately push up and stretch the opposition to find themselves in a 1v1 with the opposition fullback. With the ball moving out wide, the attacking team could look to create an overload in this position. For example, the strikers can pin both centre-backs. The fullback will be occupied with the fullback on the ball, and the wide midfielder can create an overload by cutting in behind in the half space. If he's followed by the midfielder, it leaves a central channel for the attacking midfielder, who now has 3 players ahead of him, with support from the other wide midfielder and the holding mid. While the holding mid is the focal point during build-up, the attacking mid will be the focal point on the attack, shifting from side to side to create overloads or adding numbers in the box. With the team building centrally, then he will usually try and find space between the defence and midfield. And if receiving with his back to goal, lay the ball off to the wide mids overlapping in the half space. Or if he's given space to turn, pick out one of the strikers with a through ball. With the team building out wide, he will often drift into this position, where with his excellent passing range can pick out a player on the second post or dribble inside and take a shot at goal himself. In the final third, the main job of the strikers will be to lure the defenders out of position. With the attacking mid on the ball, one striker could come short to collect, freeing space behind him for the other to move into, or for the mezzala to overlap. Both strikers could push up on the back line, meaning the attacking mid can have more space on the edge of the box to take a strike. In the final third, the 4-4-2 diamond can end up with a lot of players on the defensive line. With one fullback having pushed up, the 2 strikers, the attacking mid and 1 wide mid can attack the box, and the other 2 midfielders can sit on the edge of the box for any cutbacks or clears from the back line. Now, while it's an excellent lineup going forward, this formation has withstood the test of time thanks mostly to its defensive advantages. The ability to quickly shift into any other lineup mean the 4-4-2 diamond is an excellent defensive formation. It can press with a front 2 or a front 3. It can morph into a standard 2 banks of 4 or a 4-2-3-1 pressing shape. When defending, the main areas of danger are the flanks in front of the fullbacks and the space behind the defensive line. To prevent the ball from moving into these areas, the first line of offensive pressure will look to push the oppositions inside, where the team can defend with a numerical advantage. To do this, the strikers will position themselves on the outside of the centre-backs, cutting any passing lanes to the fullback, and the attacking mid can put pressure on the holding mid, meaning the team in possession will usually have 2 passing options to the midfielders, who will however be outnumbered in a 3v2. For this reason, it's a formation that often finds itself dealing with long balls over the midfield, and so the defenders will need to be alert to this danger and effectively close down the space in behind. If the opposition is able to work the ball out wide, then usually the defensive fullback will close him down, with the midfielders shuffling over to the side and covering any passes to stop any quick switches of play, slowly squeezing the space available to play. It's important for the midfield 4 to always close off the centre of the pitch, Given that this is the team's strong point, a ball through the middle can completely unlock the defence and open up the pitch for the opposition. If the opposition is able to move the ball into the final third, then again the close proximity between each position allows players to effectively cover any potential gaps. For example, if the ball is played out wide down the flank, when the fullback pushes to press, then the holding mid, who is free of any marking, can shift into the back line, covering any potential runs in behind and slowing down the attack. If the opposition looks to cut inside in front of the defence, then the wide midfielder and the holding mid will ensure that there is little space to do so, and force the opposition to recycle possession. When facing crosses from out wide, then the team can quickly pack the box with players, and the opposition will also need to be careful, given if they regain possession here, then having two strikers and an attacking mid can quickly create a dangerous counter-attacking opportunity. Now I know I may have made this formation sound pretty invincible, but there is a reason as to why not many top teams are playing it, and in the current meta, managers have figured out a way to stop it. Firstly, like all other formation, it is highly reliant on having the right players for the job. The strikers need to have a great understanding, or end up getting in each other's way. The playmaker needs to be good under pressure, and be able to pick out the players ahead of him. And the fullbacks will need to have great stamina to run the length of the pitch for 90 minutes. If the players don't have these attributes, then the formation just isn't going to work, and will end up being disjointed and ineffective. Secondly, the narrowness of this formation can only be overlooked so far, and if the opposition is able to move the ball into these areas, then it can cause a lot of issues, as the opposition can easily find themselves in a 2v1 with the fullback. To stop this, the 4-4-2 diamond needs the whole team to move as a unit and shift to the side of the ball. However, this can cause an even bigger issue if the opposition finds a way to switch play, as an overlapping fullback or winger can immediately have space to run into. Finally, having many attacking players may sound great, but it does leave the team vulnerable to quick counterattacks, specifically in the space behind the fullbacks. If the opposition can quickly get a player on the ball in this position, then the 4-4-2 diamond can swiftly be outnumbered in defence, and it can kiss goodbye to 3 points. Nonetheless, with the right manager and the right players, this formation can still be deadly, and will certainly find its place in the meta once again. And now let me know what you think. What do you think of the 4-4-2 diamond, and who is your favourite team that plays with this formation? Let me know in the comments down below, along with any suggestions for future videos. And if you enjoyed this content, please leave a like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. If you want to help support the channel, then you can check out my custom NFTs. Each NFT is directly linked to one of the videos I've uploaded on this channel. And so for today's video, it's this poster of Kaka, one of the best attacking mids in history, and one that shined under Carlo Ancelotti for AC Milan, in the 4-4-2 diamond formation. The link is in the description down below. Bye for now.